Assalamu alaikum, girls. The topic that we'll be doing today is Elizabethan drama. जो हमारा previous lecture है उसमें we talked about generally Elizabethan era के क्या traits थे, क्या qualities थी, क्या characteristics थे. But today we are going to talk specifically about Elizabethan drama. अगर हम इसकी simple definition देखें Elizabethan drama की या Elizabethan theatre की, we would say that it is the kind of drama that was written during the rule of Queen Elizabeth I. लेकिन ये बहुत एक simple definition है because during this time बहुत variety of drama जो है वो लिखा गया and that prospered and that was also performed in the different theatres of England. Uh, and what we really need to know कि Elizabethan age का जो सबसे glorified genre of English literature था या literary glory जो सबसे ज़्यादा थी, that was within the domain of drama. और इसी domain में सबसे ज़्यादा popularity थी with the masses because drama watching for them was an easier thing to do, even for the ones who were not literate. Just watching, and it provided them with the entertainment. So it became very sort of popular during the Elizabethan era. जो क्वीन एलिजाबेथ का रूल था विच वाज फ्रॉम दी 1558 टू 1603 उसमें जो यूरोपियंस थे स्पेशली एंड विद इन द डोमेन ऑफ इंग्लैंड दे वर ट्राइंग टू ब्रेक अवे फ्रॉम देयर कल्चरल रिस्ट्रिक्शंस जिसे हम कंस्ट्रेंट्स भी कहते हैं जो कल्चर ने और जो चर्च ने at that point in time restrictions उनके ऊपर लगाई थी they were trying to sort of break away from that and इसकी वजह से what happened was कि हर area of human लाइफ जो है उसके अंदर एक्सपेरिमेंटेशन भी हुई और उसके अंदर डिफरेंट new trends भी emerge हुए specifically within the domain of art, music, architecture, science, philosophy, uh, and what is most pertinent to our topic of discussion today, theatre and literature. And our popularity, अगर देखें of theatre and drama during the Elizabethan era, आप इस बात से अंदाजा लगाएं कि by the time Queen Elizabeth I का rule जो है वो खत्म हुआ, there were about 20 theatres only in London, और उसमें different several plays जो हैं they used to be performed और एक बहुत नई revolution आ गई within the domain of theatre during the Elizabethan times. अब जो basic content of theatre है that sort of changed during the Elizabethan era. How did it change? Because इससे पहले जितना भी drama था, it was generally lectures pertaining to morals and pertaining to religion. Within England. But now, जो नया जो drama बनने लगा during the Elizabethan era, it had to do with not just good behavior, but or basically a reflection of the people and their spirit और उनके जो day to day interest थे यानी human interest थे उसके ऊपर ज़्यादा reflection हुई और ज़्यादा बात हुई. And primarily because people wanted some sort of entertainment. And drama was providing them with that entertainment, and they went to theaters to laugh and to cry. And therefore, in order to identify with the central themes, जो playwrights at that point in time were very sort of smart in the sense कि उन्होंने ऐसे characters के बारे में लिखा that were human, that were and who were closer to reality, so that the masses identify with them and they're able to see their own reflection through the characters in the plays. And because drama itna popular hua or with the popularity the financial aspect of it also came in the sense ke jo drama tha uske playwrights se they were sort of better off as compared to writers of other genres of literature isliye jo great caliber ke jo writers the वो बहुत ज्यादा ड्रामा की तरफ आने लगे and they wanted to write drama. And what we also saw during the Elizabethan times that for the first time जो stage presentations of the human experience were depicted और जो masses हैं, they saw acts of great nobility by flawed heroes. यानी कि बहुत ज्यादा जो हाई लेवल के कैरेक्टर्स थे, कैरेक्टर्स जो कि एक नोबल लीनिएज से आते थे, या जिसे हमें बहुत ही ज्यादा इलीटिस्ट भी हम कह सकते हैं, वो जो है उनके फ्लॉज या उनकी गलतियां जो हैं, दे वर आल्सो सॉर्ट ऑफ डिपिक्टेड. और अगेन इफ गर्ल्स, अगर आप अपना प्रीवियस लेक्चर रिकॉल करें, तो एलिजाबेथन ईरा के अंदर one thing that the Elizabethans did, that they took in a lot of inspiration from Greek tragedy and Greek literature. So ये जो एस्पेक्ट है कि एक पर्सन ऑफ वेरी हाई कैलिबर commits a little mistake or sometimes even a grand mistake, and उसकी डाउनफॉल होती है उस एक फ्लॉ या मिस्टेक की वजह से. दिस इज टिपिकली अ थीम ऑफ ग्रीक ट्रेजेडी, जिसके ऊपर शेक्सपियर ने फर्दर वर्क ऑन किया, और उसके प्लेस में हम जनरली दिस पर्टिकुलर थीम इज एविडेंटली फाउंड. Elizabethan era, obviously Shakespeare is much talked about, and he's probably one of the most popular playwrights of the Elizabethan era. But before him, the one playwright जो बहुत emerge हुआ and popular हुआ, he was Christopher Marlowe. He died at a very young age, but in spite of that, he was able to bring forth some very powerful tragedies, which are still today considered as one of the best tragedies that have ever been performed on the English stage. उसकी काम के अंदर ओरिजिनलिटी भी थी, and one reason why he was known uh, throughout the history of English literature, has been popular throughout the history of English literature, is because he used the blank verse in his plays. Blank verse is typically this specific way of writing a play. उसका जो स्टाइल होता है, उसके हम कहते हैं ब्लैंक वर्स. सो इस ब्लैंक वर्स ने जो है स्ट्रेंथन किया ड्रामा को, एंड द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ कैरेक्टर जो है जिस तरह से उसने पोर्ट्री की, वो इट सॉर्ट ऑफ हाइटेंड द लेवल ऑफ ट्रेजेडी. और सम ऑफ हिज फेमस ट्रेजेडीज इंक्लूड टैम्बरलिन द ग्रेट, व्हिच इज आल्सो द फर्स्ट ट्रेजेडी दैट ही रोट इन ब्लैंक वर्स, जिसके अंदर पावर एंड बैलेंस की जो थीम्स हैं उनको बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्टिवली पोर्ट्रे किया गया है. The other plays that were written by Christopher Marlowe include The Jew of Malta, Dr. Faustus, and Edward II. ये उसके other important and very famous plays हैं. Girls, I would really appreciate अगर आप, if you read out in detail regarding these plays, because they are some of the most important plays that were written by Christopher Marlowe. If I can bring about another lecture specifically about Christopher Marlowe, I will let you know what exactly these tragedies were also about. Followed by Christopher Marlowe, the other important dramatist, and of course, probably the most famous dramatist, was William Shakespeare. And William Shakespeare जो है, he wrote plays such as Hamlet, Macbeth, King Lear, जो इसकी tragedies थी. और what set him apart from other playwrights in dealing with these tragedies was that he dealt with human beings at their meanest level. Yani even though these characters came from very aristocratic or sort of a line of kings, etc., but yet again इनकी जो psychological complexities थी, they were probably as human as anybody else. इसमें जैसे अगर आप ओथेलो पढ़ें, तो उसमें जो एयागो का कैरेक्टर है, ही इज वन कैरेक्टर जो कि बहुत ही साइकोपैथिक है. एंड देन अगर हमने और ह्यूमन इमोशंस के बारे में भी एक्सप्लोर करना है, such as love and Romeo and Juliet and Antony and Cleopatra, you see that these are human emotions that can take place in any normal human being, but Shakespeare sort of explored it through characters that were very grandiose, and that increased the level of tragedy in his plays. Although most of the plays of the Elizabethan period have an underlying Christian assumption, बिकॉज उस जमाने का कल्चर ही था कि एक अंडरलाइंग एलिमेंट ऑफ रिलीजन जो था, लेकिन उसकी जो ऑन द सरफेस लेवल थीम थी, और प्रीडोमिनेंट थीम जो थी, that was humanist, that is about human beings, their emotions, their psychological complexities, and how they sort of portrayed it. और उनकी वो क्या सेंट्रल फ्लॉ था, विच शेक्सपियरियन टर्म्स में फेटल फ्लॉ भी जिसे हम कहते हैं, विच लेड दी सेंट्रल कैरेक्टर्स टू अ मेजर डाउनफॉल। और जो ट्रेजेडी का क्रक्स जो होता था, वो इस डाउनफॉल के जर्नी के थ्रू ही डिपिक्ट किया जाता था। अगेन ये एक रेनेसॉन्स स्पिरिट थी कि आप ह्यूमन एलिमेंट्स के बारे में बात करें, इन रियल ह्यूमन बींग्स के बारे में जो डे टू डे लाइफ में होती है, उनके इमोशंस के बारे में बात करें और उनकी ह्यूमन कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज के बात करें। एंड दिस इज नोन एज द ह्यूमनिस्ट स्पिरिट ऑफ रेनेसांस, which was of course trickled down to the Elizabethan era and then portrayed through the works of the Elizabethan era. अब Elizabethan drama के अंदर another important aspect which was found to a lesser extent in the previous plays prior to the Elizabethan era was the element of humor. Uh, और इसके अंदर अगेन बिकॉज वी टॉक्ड मोर अबाउट पीपल, तो इसलिए ह्यूमर का एलिमेंट जो था वो बहुत ज्यादा एविडेंट था। अगर हम इफ वी आर टू सी अबाउट द ग्रीक कॉमेडीज, जो ह्यूमर है इट वाज परफेक्टेड बाय शेक्सपियर, एंड उसने बहुत ज्यादा कॉमिक कैरेक्टर्स एंड सैटिरिकल कैरेक्टर्स दिए थ्रू हिज लाइट हार्टेड कॉमेडीज। बट व्हाट वी सी इन शेक्सपियर्स प्लेज इज which is a lot of experimentation with the genres of comedy and tragedy, as in like Shakespeare's darkest tragedies had certain comic elements to it, यानी कि उसने genres को mix किया of tragedy and comedy, which wasn't thought of much before. And similarly उसके comedies के अंदर certain tragic elements were also prevalent. And जो histories लिखी या historical plays लिखे शेक्सपियर ने, उसने ये दोनों elements को combine किया of tragedy and comedy. So what we need to know that in Shakespeare's case, the winds of Renaissance gave him the freedom to reflect on all aspects of human beings in his plays. So in his tragedies, he tried to give in a break to the audience by putting in comic elements. And then in his comedies, he tried to put in a break by putting in certain tragic elements. Or histories ke andar, just ke historical plays, he tried to combine the two elements, which wasn't really thought of before the Elizabethan era. The third most popular dramatist of the Elizabethan era was Benjamin Jonson. Again, his famous play included every man in his humor. However, जो flow Benjamin Jonson का था, which a lot of critics feel, was that his characters are considered as not really human. And even though Ben Jonson wrote about 20 plays alone and some other plays with other playwrights, and of his comedies जो ज़्यादा popular हुई वो थी Volpone the Fox, Everyone Out of His Humor, The Alchemist, Bathroom of Feud, The Silent Woman, to mention a few. And then again his tragedy Sejanus was played at the Globe Theatre being a predominant theatre that was established during the Elizabethan times. So girls, what you need to know about Elizabethan drama is that this was the golden age of drama. और जितनी ज़्यादा experimentation about Elizabethan drama हुई during this era, probably itni nahi hui during any other era. It sort of set the footing for the future dramas that were to come. And the essential elements about this particular Elizabethan drama was that characters were realistic, they were closer to people. और जो human aspect था about people, that was explored to quite an extent. Unki psychological complexities, unke issues, unke flaws of human beings, that is what was put forth during this particular era. And of course, the playwright or the dramatist of all times, the most famous dramatist, William Shakespeare was also a product of the Elizabethan era or the Elizabethan drama. Thank you so much, girls, and I hope you understand.